Hey friends, it's Meghann Andrew here with you, and I am so excited to share this Valentine that I created for Love Week that may be a bit fussy, but it is so worth it. I hope you'll watch the entire video to see how this beautiful card came together. To create today's card, I am going to be using the gorgeous Enchanted Heart dies from Concord and Ninth. With this die set, you get a background cover plate, you get this heart scalloped outline, you get another scalloped outline, and then you get 3 inside hearts that do not cut the outline, they just cut the inside of the hearts. I'm going to be sharing a really fun technique that I'm doing with my Platinum 6 machine, and I'm using the E and the D plates. Now the E is an embossing plate, so it will take any die that you have and emboss the design instead of die cut it. I'm taking lilac cardstock from Concord and Ninth, and this is an A2 sized piece, and I'm adhering it to that die plate with mint tape from scrapbook.com. I'm making sure the die plate is cutting side up, and then I'm placing my E mat on top, that's the rubbery one, with the D adapter plate on the very top of the stack. I'm running that through one time and wait until you see this reveal. I just love doing this. This just gives you another way to use your dies. Look at that texture that it adds to that cardstock. It's such a fun way to get another use out of your dies. You can do this with any die you own. Just give it a try. Okay, so now that I have that piece of lilac cardstock, I want to make those embossed edges kind of stand out. So I'm grabbing lilac ink and my Gina K Designs blending brush, and I'm just adding a bit of ink to that cardstock to help those raised areas stand out a bit. This really does make a difference. Now, I want to cut out that heart shape. There is a very faint embossed outline of a heart there. So I'm using my X-Acto knife, and I just changed my knife just for this purpose to cut out that heart. And you can see that I really have to get my head down to make sure that I'm cutting along that line. Then I'm using my mono sand eraser to go along the edges to get that nice and smooth. Next, it's time for me to create the inside of my heart. So I'm using Nectar ink from Concord and Ninth, and the 2 outside scalloped layers of the heart, and the inside layer that says "You're my favorite." I'm lining those up so that they're nice and straight on the Nectar cardstock, making sure that all of the edges are even. And then I'm running through my die cutting machine 2 times to give me 2 different hearts. Now, if I would have thought better here, I would have saved the insides of my letters, but I didn't, and I forgot, and I threw them out. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere these 2 layers together, giving me a double layered cardstock heart. I'm taking a vertical scored card panel from scrapbook.com. This is in Nina Solar White. And then I'm going to adhere the purple lilac layer to that panel using dimensional adhesive. And I'm going to get that dimensional adhesive all over this layer to make sure it is really solid. Before I place this down, I'm going to use some scrapbook.com liquid adhesive to put over my dimensional adhesive to make sure that I have some wiggle room if I don't get that straight right away. And you can see that I'm going to go ahead and put my head straight down there to make sure that that is nice and straight. Next, I'm going to put that Nectar heart right on the inside. And I'm going to really make sure that that Nectar heart is centered inside of my heart opening. Next, we're going to use an inlay technique. So I'm going to use the same stack of heart dies with Midnight ink. Then I am going to add adhesive to my letters using my Gina K Designs fine tip bottle. And that tip really helps to get the glue inside those small areas. Using a pickup tool, I am going to pick up each one of those letters and inlay them inside the nectar openings. Now you can see there, I forgot to save my nectar middle of my O's and my R, so I'm going to have to cut those out again later. Next, and this is probably the fussiest step of the heart, is to add all of those little half circles around that scalloped circle. And I'm doing this with Sorbet. This is another color from Concord and Ninth that I just love. So you really want to make sure that you get the right piece inside the right hole, or else it might not fit right. And so I had to do a little bit of extra work to make sure I was getting that right. Now I did lose 2 on that left side, so you'll see me go back later and cut those 2 out. Remember the center we cut from lilac cardstock? I'm going to use just the center heart to die cut some pieces from that too. Because this die cut panel has a few leaves, I decided to try artichoke in some of these pieces. And you can try this out before you decide by not adding your adhesive first. You can just inlay the piece inside, decide if you like it, and then decide to glue it if you'd like. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm making sure that I want those green pieces down at the bottom and at the top. I like having those 3 different areas, kind of creates a visual triangle there. Then I'll go ahead and use a little pokey tool to pull those out, add my glue, and put those back in. I really like this tiny addition of artichoke here. Next, I am going to cut the pieces that I accidentally threw out from my nectar cardstock by just using some of the scraps I had on hand. Then I'm going to go through my scrap folder to find a scrap of lilac so that I can cut out the stars, because I also threw those away too. You want to make sure that you get those stars in straight. And then I'm going to cut the 2 scallops that I lost on my desk somewhere. It's quite easy to use scraps to cut out the pieces that you may be missing. To finish off the card, I am using some clear sequins to add just a little bit of sparkle to that background in areas where there's little dots embossed in the background detail. I think this looks so pretty, and it doesn't take away from the rest of the card. One product that I love to use when I'm die cutting and gluing a lot is the Thermoweb iCraft Adhesive Eraser. Now this is a big eraser that takes away the glue marks on your die cuts, and it makes for a really professional look. I highly recommend it when die cutting. And with that, my card project is finished. This card in total took me about 50 minutes, but I find that it was so worth it to create this one-of-a-kind textural inlay card. I really think that this card could be created for someone who is very special and who would appreciate it, and it's worth taking the time to do it. I hope you liked seeing the process today, and that you will check out today's blog post to find all of the links to the products that I used. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure to follow SCT Magazine and myself, Meghann Andrew, for more content. Happy creating!